What is up, gym fans? It is the week of October 27th. I am Patricia.
And I'm Carissa.
And this is Decoded.
Whoa! We're back, baby.
We are here and we are going to recap the World Championships primarily. But this is, of course, not a bonus episode. This is a regular episode. So we'll go through all of our regular segments. So let's get into it. Carissa, give me, I think we really don't know what we're going to say here, but give me your wobble for the past 2 weeks.
My wobble is Kaylee Moore getting fourth and not making podium.
Yeah, it was a bummer. For sure. Especially because if you looked at like best scores, I think somebody posted them. But if you looked at like best scores from the whole meet, and how it would play out on the podium, Kaylee would have won all around. So very disappointing that she didn't even finish with a medal, but she's got to get that. Well, she did take out the wolf turn for the beam final, but she's got to axe that permanently. And also, like, she hit fault, so that was good. But she definitely needs to. And I think she did say that she was going to look at upgrades, and those upgrades obviously need to come on floor.
100%.
And then she won't be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, that's mine. Yours?
I don't really know. Probably as much as I am so thankful to do these things, staying up all night for like 6 days straight and then getting up at like 3 a.m. for the last 2 days of Worlds. The all around was actually good because I got up at like 7 a.m. and was able to sleep mostly normally and stuff. But oof, like podium, qualifying, event finals days, that was rough. That was a struggle. Also a struggle when people are like, yep. Why does this American news outlet post the Americans and nobody else and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like,
we're trying our best.
I'm dying. Please.
We are one person.
Stop. Which also is like not even like even remotely what happened, like as far as like podium training and stuff goes. Like we posted this much of the Americans and this much of like the rest of the field.
I was gonna say, I literally barely saw like.
No, I barely posted. I mean, like obviously, like we post American stuff because,
but there just wasn't really a lot to cover.
But I mean, yeah, like podium for the Americans wasn't really like the best in the first place for like the women. And of course, but we posted the men, we posted the women, of course, but then there's like a million other subdivisions, and we posted something from like all of these things. We posted everything from like, I don't know, like obviously like China and Japan to like the Qatari female gymnast that was there and stuff. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. But somebody at one point was just like, the problem is that all of the major gymnastics media outlets are from America. Like, that needs to be fixed. And I'm just like, go fix it. Start your own outlet.
No, literally. Literally. We're trying our best.
But we are, at the end of the day, an American gymnastics news outlet. So we do cover international, and we do not stray away from that. And we do not just go to these meets and focus only on the U.S. athletes, even at the international meets. Like we cover the meet no matter what. And we cover the sport internationally. But we do have what is called a U.S. slant. What's your stick?
My stick is Donnell Wittenberg.
Nice.
He's my stick. I've watched that routine like 800,000 times. I don't think I'll ever stop. Yeah.
That's great.
So maybe I do have a little bit of a U.S. slant or whatever.
Oh my goodness.
Let me give you your stick. What's your stick?
I don't know. Great worlds. I don't even know if you would call it a great world. I thought it was kind of a mid world.
Mid worlds.
But that being said, to be done with Worlds as far as covering it is a stick in my book because I am already sleep deprived as a
Yeah.
mother. So I'm glad I'm no longer so sleep deprived that I'm barely functioning.
Yeah.
But Henry did get his 4-month shots the other week, and
Sick.
he cried for like 2 seconds, I think, like when it like first,
Yeah,
but then
it's
he was
always
good.
been
He did get a fever,
okay.
which he didn't get the first time, but we were able to mitigate that, so that was no worries. He was just sitting around the house basically naked in his diaper.
Oh,
So, why
I like
not?
the way you say naked. Naked.
Naked.
This Southern.
Let's get to our top 10 gymnastics headlines of the week. This is where we catch you up on the gym stories of the week and give you the gist of what you need to know. All right, kick it off for us, Carissa.
All right. Headline number one: the 2025 World Championships have concluded in Jakarta, Indonesia. We crowned 12 new world champs, saw history made, and of course, there was some drama. Would it be worlds without it? We'll discuss more in our next segment.
Number two, kind of world related, kind of not. Romania's Denisa Gogoda is saying she was physically and psychologically harassed within the Romanian gymnastics camp. The Romanian Gymnastics Federation confirmed Monday that she did indeed file a complaint over the summer, and there were meetings to address the issue. At the time, FRG says they determined that Gogoda and Anna Maria Mihaescu needed to stagger their time spent in the gym and train separately from Camila Voina and by proxy, her gymnast slash daughter, Sabrina Maneka Voina. Fast forward to Worlds in Jakarta, and Gogoda is accusing the Federation of discriminating against her and showing favoritism to a specific gymnast. She did not name names, but allegedly Maneka Voina. She says she wasn't supported basically at all in Jakarta. This is Gogoda, by the way, and received lesser treatment, including when she reportedly got food poisoning just 2 days before the floor final, where she ultimately finished seventh. Apparently, the Asian food did not sit well with the Romanian Federation. Romanian news outlet Golazo reports that the allegations in regard to physical and psychological harassment seem to stem around Sabrina allegedly saying that she would punch Golgota in the mouth until she was disfigured and needed cosmetic surgery. Camila Voina is saying these are lies spawned from jealousy because Sabrina is better and is threatening legal action. If you don't know, Golgota retired from gymnastics back in 2020 and returned this year. For its part, FRG says that no allegations of harassment or inappropriate conduct will be ignored, and an independent commission will review the situation.
Yee, that's tough. All right.
Moving on.
Moving on. All right, number three. A big question many have been asking as we await the FIG's release of the LA Olympic qualifying process is when are we going to see this mythical, magical mixed team event make its appearance? Well, according to Japanese media, the FIG is expected to debut the event at the 2027 Worlds, which we know will be the primary qualifier for the 2028 Olympics. The FIG's reported proposal for the format of the event has men competing floor, parallel bars, and high bar, and women competing bars, beam, and floor. After each rotation, one event per gender, the lowest ranked team would be eliminated. Hat tip to Gymnastic for sharing the translated story.
Let's go on. Number four, in case you've been living under a rock the past couple weeks, I have. I barely saw this, to be honest. This came out, I think, the morning of, I don't know. I think I might have written it. We did want to circle back to the latest development in the Israel being banned from World saga. The International Olympic Committee stepped in last week as finals began in Jakarta. And I think this was the morning of the men's all around final, but maybe it was the morning of the women's all around final. I don't know. Again, like I was just distracted. And I was like, really, you guys, y'all are going to like throw this in right now. But the IOC executive board met remotely to discuss Indonesia's denial of Israeli visas and the FIG's decision to take note of the situation. In response, the IOC decided to end any discussions about Indonesia hosting future Olympic Games, Youth Olympic Games, etc., and recommended all international federations not to host any international sporting events or meetings in Indonesia until such time as the Indonesian government provides adequate guarantees that it will allow access to the country for all participants, regardless of nationality, to attend. In addition, they are adapting the qualification principles for the Olympic Games. I was surprised that this wasn't already basically a thing, but they are requesting that international federations include guarantees on access to the respective country for all athletes in their hosting agreements for any Olympic qualification competition around the world. So, just so you know, the 2025 World Championships were not an Olympic qualifier. So, this didn't impact that. And if that had happened, it would have probably been an even bigger issue. But lastly, the IOC has requested that the NOC of Indonesia and the FIG come to IOC headquarters in Switzerland to discuss the situation. AKA, those two have been called to the principal's office.
100%.
They are in trouble.
100%.
As you can tell, the IOC is already basically, for lack of a better word, blacklisting Indonesia because of this. And they are going to, I don't know what might come of that meeting, but, and of course, there's still the ongoing, CAS is still reviewing, and that might take years, but CAS is still reviewing the whole situation as far as the one appeal that wasn't declined. Basically, if the FIG violated its statutes with basically allowing Indonesia to decline them. So we still don't know the result of that, and that could, a worst case scenario, nullify the results of the World Championships that we are about to discuss and recap. So that would be a bummer.
Huge
for
bummer.
everyone involved. But yeah. So by the way, I was actually just looking at Olympic bids, like basically like where the Olympics could go in the next like decade or so a couple weeks ago, because I'm an Olympic freak and love the Olympics and Paralympics and stuff.
Same.
Yeah, I love that.
Dang. PJ got it for me.
Go PJ.
Go PJ. Get so many shout outs on this show.
All-star ex-boyfriend.
Literally all-star ex-boyfriend.
But that being said, I always like to look and see where they might be going and where we might be traveling, and where you know, I just am a big Olympic fan in general. So Indonesia was definitely looking to bid for the 2036 games in their new capital city, Nusantara, that is under construction. They are building a new capital city, and it's going to replace Jakarta because Jakarta has like overpopulation issues, and then apparently is also sinking. So Nusantara is going to be the new capital city, and they really wanted to host the Olympics there. Now, whether that was, in my opinion, reviewing the other bids and stuff, long shot for sure. But because of the infrastructure and various things and whether it would actually be done and stuff, like the IOC probably wasn't going to put their eggs in that basket. But that being said, that bid has effectively been suspended for the time being. So, dun dun dun.
Interesting.
Bummer. So,
yeah.
And
Hopefully
also,
they'll figure that all out.
yeah. So we'll see what happens when the FIG and Indonesia get to roll up to the IOC and explain themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're still
I wish
waiting
they
on
would let
CAS.
reporters there. I'd volunteer to go. I'm really good at covering meetings from my time in local news.
Wait, from when you were in the news? Yeah. They. I feel like that's one of the
And
things
I just really want to go to Switzerland.
Carissa, if we had an endless piggy bank, I would send you to Switzerland, 100%.
Yeah. That's like my forte. Covering contentious meetings. Headline number 5. Worlds might be over, but there is still good gymnastics to watch in the coming weeks and months. The first of those is the Comme la Ville tournament, set for Saturday and Sunday, November 1st and 2nd in France. This is a junior and espoir, aka Hope's 11 and 12 competition, and the U.S. delegation consists of juniors Kylie Smith, Kaylee Saff, and Trinity Wood. The Hope's 11 and 12 group is Avery Haynes, Brooklyn Clauser, and Audrey Van Grinsven.
Sweet. Number 6.
If I butchered your last name, I'm really sorry.
Shout out, ladies. The number 6, the Arthur Gander Memorial Tournament is Wednesday, November 5th in Morges, Switzerland. Speaking of Switzerland, the U.S. team consists of world's alternates Ashley Sullivan and Taylor Burkhart, of course, a man and a woman. If you don't know, the Arthur Gander is a unique elimination tournament. Gymnasts compete on apparatuses of their choosing. In qualifying, men compete on 3, women compete on 2. Then the top 6 male and female gymnasts advance to the final round, where they compete on 1 more apparatus of their choosing, not repeating an apparatus, and the male and female gymnast with the highest combined totals overall the rounds wins. Ultimately, the men's gymnasts compete on 4 events and the women compete on 3. So if
That's so fun.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like they get to pick, basically like put their eggs. I'm continuing to talk about eggs in baskets, but they get to put their eggs in their baskets they're most confident in. So like Taylor, I don't know off the top of my head, he'll probably compete high bar, floor, um, vault, and maybe I don't know parallel bars, and then Ashley very likely to compete uh, beam, floor, and then I don't know toss up whether she'd do vault or bars. Probably vault. Um, but yeah, so very fun. I didn't find any broadcast information. I can't remember in the past if this is really broadcast. But that being said, we will recap it a little bit next week and, give you what happened. Usually the US is pretty successful at this event. I do believe I want to say Leanne went last year and didn't have the best time. But whatever. So great for Ashley and Taylor to go and get an international assignment after, narrowly missing out on the world team, especially for poor Taylor when he could have really been used in Jakarta. But
Yeah.
yeah, so all right, number 7.
Yep. Also happening next week is Trampoline and Tumbling Worlds in Pamplona, Spain. This event is massive as it features world championships level competition for trampoline, tumbling, and double mini tramp. The U.S. delegation is over 24 athletes alone. At the last TNT Worlds in 2023, the U.S. delegation won the men's and women's team all around, men's team double mini, men's individual double mini with powerhouse Ruben Padilla, and women's synchro. Jessica Stevens also won a historic bronze in the women's individual tramp, becoming the first American medalist in the event since 1974. She would go on to represent the U.S. at the 2024 Olympics. I love TNT. If you haven't gotten into TNT, you should. My best friend, literally like my sister, was on Team USA for tumbling, and I would skip school to
So
watch her
fun.
competition. It's so good.
Yes. Number 8, NCAA update. So it's been 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, the biggest news is that LSU now has 9 commits with the addition of Tatum Drush, and they might be getting a 10th before it's all said and done. I've heard through the grapevine that that's the goal. 10 is the goal for the class of 2027. Could that 10th be Claire Pease? The 5-star was late to start her official visits as she was obviously expecting to contend / potentially compete at Worlds before rolling her ankle. So she's now visited Utah and LSU in the past couple weeks. I'm sure she probably has 1 or 2 more visits. I could totally see her visiting, I don't know, maybe this weekend. You have to watch your channels, but maybe visiting, I could see her visiting Oklahoma
I could see her
and
visiting Oklahoma and Cal.
Cal. That's a good one. Or Stanford.
Yeah.
I could see her visiting
Yeah.
Stanford too. She's she,
Yeah.
you can. I feel like she's low key like a bookie. Like she's just like
Yeah. I feel like she's
absolutely.
smarty pants.
Yeah, she's
I
very.
feel like I feel like she gives Cal or Stanford for
Yeah,
sure.
she does. Actually, those are like
Right?
nice guesses. So we'll see.
Thanks.
I don't get
She gonna listen
LSU.
to this podcast and be like, "Oh, you guys think I'm smart?" We
um,
do.
she We'll see. I don't get LSU vibes from her, but
No.
Hesley Rivera, her Woga teammate, is committed to LSU. So there's that. And then yeah, I don't know. So we'll see.
All right. Headline number 9 is Texas finally getting a Division I gymnastics team. Maybe. Late last week, a reporter in Texas shared some documents from Texas state's proposal to join the Pac 12, including adding women's gymnastics by fiscal year 2028. This was via a Freedom of Information Act request, aka FOIA. We reached out to Texas State to try to get some more information, to which Texas State Athletic Director Don Coryell replied saying that they are currently evaluating the potential for a gymnastics program, but nothing is final. Basically, via this FOIA request, Texas State's hand was shown before they were ready. So we'll see if the program actually materializes or not.
Lastly, ending our top 10 on a high note, is reigning men's figure skating champion Nathan Chen going to be the next pommel horse guy? Chen shared a video the other week asking for Steven Ederazic to coach him after doing some pretty good circles at a park. I think it was in LA. And we approve of this crossover. So kudos, Nathan.
That'd be so cool.
So fun. So now that we've given you the rundown of the gym news, we want to go into a specific story that we think needs a little bit more attention, and we have some explaining to do. I started this with world is over if you want it.
Why? I cannot.
If you want it to be over. I did want it to be over.
Yeah.
But
Trisha was
we also don't want it to be over. It's always sad because it basically signifies the end of like the elite season in earnest. And then obviously kind of the down period. Of course, we've got things coming up, obviously we just discussed, but kind of the down period for gym the next couple of months before NCAA starts and spring elite season. So bummer, but we've got 12 new world champions and a lot to unpack after the world championships, and we've got to do so quickly because Carissa is a booked and busy gal. So but yeah, the world championships came to a close last weekend in Jakarta. We will kind of just touch on the champions and any key storylines. I've got, well, first, of course, there were the white floors. And the black ceiling, which caused a ruckus from the beginning in podium with athletes being like, I cannot, like, I'm disoriented. So
very
that's a bummer and not good. And I don't get why we can't properly outfit these meets with logical. That's not even a Tayshaun versus Spieth or AI situation. That is a
why
that's
don't we have restrictions?
Yeah, this is on the do not do list. So how did white floors get through?
Yeah.
I just don't know. So it's just like it's all these things that kind of play into the fact of like that and the equipment. There were complaints about the equipment, specifically vaulted floor, but complaints kind of about the equipment all across the board. It was Tayshaun equipment, which is common for worlds held in Asia. But that being said, the white floors, the equipment, all kind of contribute to like, is this setting these athletes up to give their best meet?
Yeah.
So
probably not. Yeah.
That's always, a bummer, kind of stinks because you want to see the athletes like at the top of their game and not impacted by these things. But yeah, so white floors, like maybe we can fix that in the future. The equipment, I think in general, my thought process on that is that if Tayshaun, it's not even like a something on Tayshaun specifically, but if like Tayshaun and AAI and Spieth and any other equipment out there is so different, then maybe we need to look at getting regulatory standards for this equipment internationally because that's just like insane to me. Like
insane for a world's competition. 100%.
So for world championships, it's wild. There were low crowds the whole week. There were low crowds from the beginning, from qualifying, and I never expected it to improve. And this is something we discussed. They only put on tickets on sale like a month or two before, and that might be generous, before the meet started. And there was not very many people in the crowd. I know Amy for a fact was able to get up onto like our photographer one of our
Mhm.
photographers who was there was able to get up onto the concourse level and do some fun stuff for, like, photo-wise, which
Mhm.
would not be possible if there was even a decent crowd
Crowd,
there.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, that's really it's just like, again, this is a world championships, there should be and it's not to say there's a lack of interest in this meet.
Yeah.
There is plenty of interest in world championships. We've seen that with great crowds and in Liverpool and Antwerp and
Mhm.
Olympics and stuff. It's just a matter of marketing and, um, yeah, just
Accessibility.
yeah, and accessibility. So, um, all around disappointing to see that.
For
I
sure.
do think Rotterdam is gonna be way better next year. I've
I
already
agree.
heard that, some of those the ticket types and stuff are selling out. So if you plan on going to Rotterdam next year, get looking at those tickets. Yes, but you don't need a ticket. Um, so, um, all right. The other bummer that happened before the meet even basically started is Asher injured his ankle.
Mm,
Um, all these stories that we're kind of touching on, we have, of course, more in depth, and you can read all
yeah,
about our recaps and all these things on the site. But Asher got hurt right before in the warm up gym, right before coming out for qualifying. And of course, he
sucks.
was a contender for the all around medal. And looking at the medalists, like, absolutely was a contender for an all around medal.
Mhm.
Then also probably would have contended on floor or, yeah, floor and vault.
Yeah.
Um, so massive bummer
Upsetting.
for
Yeah,
Asher.
for
Um,
sure.
other bummers of qualifying, I posted a betrayal list.
Yeah, that was really good.
I thought that covered a lot of it, but then I asked people, I was just like, "Of course, it's not gonna cover everything." So I was just like, "Y'all
What
throw
else?
in your other stuff."
Mhm.
But, like, bummers of qualifying, Heath falling on high bar, Thomas Grasso falling on his triple twisting Yurchenko when he, like, literally rebounded out of it during podium.
Mhm.
Um, what else? Leanne not qualifying to vault final, the US women's kind of whole qualifying. Um, but I think that is one of the things that I think I put on here to talk about towards the end of this.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Chelsea, so I I I think it's insane. People are crazy. Um,
yeah,
there's been a lot to say, a lot to do. I don't know about nothing, in my opinion.
yeah,
Like, not nothing. I think it is something to watch, but
yeah.
the
It's a non-Olympic year.
it's well, it's a post-Olympic year.
Yeah,
So if you go back, I think my number one argument for this whole, like, freak out over the
yeah.
US women is if you go back and look at the 2021 team, it
Mhm.
was Connor McLean,
Yep,
MJ Frazier,
yep.
um, Kayla DiCello, and Leanne Wong, and
Yeah.
they did not win a single gold medal. They
Nope.
had basically I would say, the same level of success um, as this team did in
Yeah,
Jakarta, and that's not even to say the fact that there were injuries keeping athletes out of this meet. Like,
yeah,
for one, one of the athletes there, Sky, was obviously coming back from an Achilles injury. If she was at full strength for all around doing a chung and
yeah.
doing floor, she would have absolutely been in contention for
Mhm.
all around gold as well as vault. Um,
100.
but beyond that, Hesley put up one of the highest all around totals of the year and was looking very strong before she rolled her ankle. And
Mhm,
then Claire also relatively strong and could have been on that team. Um,
mhm.
that being said, again, it's a post-Olympic year, even beyond that.
Yeah.
So to freak out about it, I saw somebody, um, basically, my phone's up and I screenshotted it, but somebody in one of those crazy gymnastics Facebook groups was like, "I don't think we'll see." Who did she say? Um, she was like, "I don't think we'll see Dulcie or S or Sky on another world team at all." And I was like and then
Hello?
and then also Jocelyn. And I was just like, Sky, the most baffling of them all. And then somebody was just like,
100%.
Jocelyn literally won a medal, like, and clearly was having struggles during this meet. She was not at her best. She was having some struggles with her vault, and various things. But that being said, like, we're like really reaching here. Also, so like it's a post Olympic year. There's that performance, essentially very similar to how they
Mhm.
performed in Kita Kyushu in 2021.
Yeah.
And then even beyond that, God forbid the U.S.'s dominance for so long
Yeah.
is everything has to come to an end. So yeah, maybe the U.S. women are not going to be incredibly, insanely dominant
Yeah.
moving forward. But I think that's also not a reflection of necessarily the program, but it's a reflection of other federations, other countries,
100%.
and the decrease, um, the the those countries coming up and getting better and closing the
Mhm.
gap with the US women. Like
Mhm.
that's just where we're at. Is like these programs
Yeah.
are getting better. Brazil, Italy, of course there's
Mhm.
the AINs from Russia that I don't expect to compete in LA as a team per
Mhm.
se. But all that to be said, yeah, like I think it's a freak out about nothing. I would be very I wish I could go back and basically see if, like, similar things were said in 2021 about that
I'm
team.
sure they were.
So, I think that was the big thing, like, that's a consistent discussion after.
100%.
Um,
But it's been a consistent discussion always. Like, every year, everybody's like, "The US doesn't look as strong as it usually does," and then we get
I
to
do think
that time of the
I
year.
think up and coming juniors look strong on the women's side. The men, hey, shout out to the men. They had an incredible Worlds. They were the stars. The US men were the stars of the US delegation this Worlds. They did
Yeah.
great. I think it's a testament to how that program is improving. But on the women's
100%.
side, like the juniors coming up, in my opinion, look strong, and I think that they are being paced relatively well, and I think that they could turn out to be really great. Um, and I also think that maybe this was maybe a little bit of a wake-up call to Chelsea and the US women's, high performance
Mhm.
team that, I don't know what specifically they want to go back and improve, but maybe it was a little bit of a wake-up call that
Yeah.
they're not as sharp, let's say, as
Yeah.
they have been in previous years. So, okay, guys, we are back. We took a break. Carissa had to go work. I
I
had to
did.
go mom, and we wanted to give the rest of our world's recap, a good
The attention it deserves.
the attention it deserves. So we have come back. We've regrouped. My hair is brushed. Carissa's hair is back. I have spit up on my chest. All is well.
And I picked my
Um,
acne all day, so
so we're good. Questionable, but that
always.
being said, it's been like 12 hours and we are going to finish this. So let's talk next year after Rotterdam. They'll have probably I foresee Sky back in the all around.
Mhm.
Leanne, of course, because Leanne is forever
Good
here. We'll talk
gymnast.
about how she was probably honestly gypped, but we'll talk about that in a second. Um, she'll they'll have Hesley, and
Mhm.
then I'm thinking Shiley's at least on a couple of events. Right there,
Yeah.
that's a stacked team. That's a stacked
100%.
team. And then
100%.
and I say this with like a ton of respect to a lot of these other teams. I saw somebody say like, y'all are freaking out about the US women and they'll still probably win gold at, all the worlds as quad because all the other countries have incurable flop disease.
Yeah. Mm,
Which it's
pretty
just like
much.
that's always been the funniest thing about the US women. And that is one of the areas where I do see, a crack in the system, a crack in
Mhm.
the foundation where maybe it
Mhm.
needs to be tightened up, is that they always have had difficulty, don't get me wrong. But
100%.
for the longest time, they have been so disciplined and so clean, and they would go into a podium training and they would every single one of them hit. Hit, hit,
Mhm.
hit, 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 no falls.
Mhm.
Just the attention to detail, the consistency. They would go out on the competition floor, hit, 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 no falls.
Mhm.
And I mean, a fall here, a fall there, that's whatever. But there would not be like, you would see
Yeah.
over the entire worlds, the U.S. women would maybe have 1 or 2 falls.
Yeah.
But over this worlds, there were many. And there were many mistakes. So that is like, I would say that's the biggest crack in the foundation that I have seen.
Yeah.
And where they might need to relook at what kind of reps are you doing? What can you get back, basically?
Yeah.
But that has always been, in my opinion, and I think it's easily, there's all these teams have so much potential. The Brazilians, the Italians, all of these teams have had a ton of the Russians, the Chinese, like they've always had potential, but they never could put it all together for a meet. And the US found a way for a very long time to stay at that high level, performing
put it all
and
together. Yeah.
putting it all together, executing for so long.
Yeah.
And then that here did not happen. And that is what led to
that's what's shaking everybody up.
A little bit of an underperformance. But I think people are taking like that and catastrophizing it into more than it is.
Than it needs to be, yeah. I agree.
For now, I think it is an overreaction. But
100%.
We'll see. So I would say based off Chelsea's reaction, and she seems to be, and I think Alicia Sacramone Quinn, Betty Okino are all very much, they have high standards for the program, and they should, or else they probably wouldn't be in that position for very long. So we'll see how the next year plays out. If that high performance team is, doing their job, then they should be, even at this like slight sign up, poor performance, not delivering on the world stage, etc., they should be going back to the drawing board and identifying these issues and identifying what's leading to these issues and nipping it in the bud quick.
100%.
That being said, we did talk about, even in our world's previews episodes and stuff, that this team is not what the Olympic team is going to look like. We will look back on this team in 4 years and be like, oh, that was the team? Okay. But yeah, I fully believe Shiley's, Sky, Hesley, of course Leanne, and Leanne overall I think clearly Leanne got it all around silver. She was the shining star of that team in Jakarta. And who knows who else. And we don't even know about, I think we will see, in my opinion, we will see Jade back at some point. Don't think she's done. Don't know about Suni. She seems to be living her best life. Simone, I don't believe that she's done until that girl literally stands in front of everybody and says, I am retired. Bye.
Literally.
So,
literally.
She's out there doing flips on a trampoline.
It's giving not done. It's giving not done.
Not the flips on the trampoline per se, but like
all together. Like she's rage baiting on TikTok with the Suni Lee post. Like she knows what she's doing.
Simone definitely wants. I have no doubt that if Simone, the only thing that Simone wants to go to a 4th Olympic Games. I have no doubt about that. What she's probably assessing.
I think if it wasn't in LA.
Yeah, no. I don't know if that would happen.
I don't think that, but I think the fact that she could go to a home Olympics and have a 4th Olympics under her belt, I think it's just kind of like, yeah. Okay.
And I still think, here's the other thing. I think even when she has such a successful Olympics like she did at the Paris Games, she still left something out on the floor, and that doesn't sit right with her. Like, no. Floor specifically. She lost, I mean, let's be 100% real, based off of floor. Rebecca is an incredible floor worker. I do not deny that. But Simone is the best floor worker in the world. There is no doubt about that as far as power, tumbling, difficulty, etc. Simone lost that on her own by her out of bounds and her mistakes, not because Rebecca outright beat her.
Yeah. I agree. I felt that way too, just in general. Like, I could tell she was happy and like she did great and she did way beyond anyone or her own expectations coming back. But I felt like she left something that, like, it wasn't like I remember when Allie Raisman, like, she hit that floor routine and I was like, "Oh my god, she's retired." I was like, "Oh my god, it's done." And, like, you just knew, like, I didn't feel that at any point with Paris, and I think that there's a reason for that.
And that, okay, so floor, and I was just looking up the score so I can make sure that I wasn't misremembering things. Simone had
Yeah.
a point
Yeah.
higher in difficulty score.
Yeah.
Difficulty
So
score on floor and got 6/10 in penalties. She was beaten by Rebecca by .033. And don't get me wrong, I think that result is correct because Simone did go out of bounds so much and she could not control her tumbling. And Rebecca
Yeah.
she didn't go out of bounds and she had an excellent execution. And on that day, she was the better floor worker overall. But as far as like pure power, best floor worker in the world, difficulty, all of that, Simone got second. And then she fell on beam because of the whole saga, I fully believe, along with like a bunch of other people. That beam final was a freaking mess.
Wait, I haven't heard about that.
You didn't hear about that? Okay, so during Paris, because I was in the arena. During the beam final, I don't know what the hell was wrong with the audience, but something was wrong with the audience. And I think it was the primarily French audience. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just because it was an audience that predominantly does not attend gymnastics meets. What? But the women were going on beam, and this did not just happen for Simone. I want to be very clear. The women were going on beam, and basically people are rooting on, like, you can hear other athletes in the arena from the athlete delegations rooting on the gymnasts during their beam routine and cheering them on, not pitched, like, not pure silence.
Yeah.
And the audience is going, and I mean, it's getting louder and louder and louder. And it was insane. And so Simone goes, and it's happening again and again. And then she comes off, and she literally, you can see her mouth it on the TV broadcast. She's like, why are they doing that? She's pissed. And it's not just her. It happened to multiple of them. And that beam final was a mess. And Alice did a great beam routine. Do not get me wrong. But it could have been very different. Absolutely. But the crowd was out of control. It was ridiculous. So it really did. I think, did Rebecca fall? Hold on. I actually have the stuff pulled up right now. So I'm just going to go see based off of.
I knew that she had fallen on beam, but I didn't know about the
Suni fell. Julia Soares fell from Brazil. Sabrina fell. They had at least 4 falls. And then I mean, there were some other mistakes as well. But yeah, so it was wild. I would call it gate, and I feel like it kind of gets overshadowed. But my whole point being with those things is that Simone is, I mean, I think you could tell, but especially from years of covering her, that woman is a highly competitive human being.
So good. She's
one
like,
of the most competitive human beings on this planet.
The girl version of Michael Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she does not like to lose. I can assure you that Simone's goal probably when she goes into any Olympics or any competition is, and her goal, and if she does not achieve that goal, like, of course she's happy, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's always a little bit left is, if she does not achieve this, is, of course, team gold, and then all-around gold, vault gold, beam gold, floor gold. She does not have any qualms about the bars. She has a world medal in bars, and I think she's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure she would like to get the one skill named after her on bars, so she had a skill in every event. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But when she goes into a meet, I'm pretty sure that is her standard. And if she does not hit that standard, she is left wanting more. And she has gone through 3 games, and there's always something. There's always something that goes off. Of course, Tokyo was the off the rails. But that being said, and it's not to say that she will, it's one meet. So, like, it's not to say she's going to achieve that. And obviously, I'm pretty sure she did achieve that at a Worlds. I think she achieved that at 2019 Worlds.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me check that. Let's see. 2019 gold. All-around vault, beam, floor. Yep. And team. So, yeah, she has achieved that before. But If she
Yeah.
basically if she doesn't achieve that, that leaves her wanting more. And I know that that's probably what she wants to achieve in Olympics. And so for her to finish second on floor by her own mistakes and to
Yeah.
finish and still almost win, that's insane with
Yeah.
6/10 of deductions and to still almost win. And then for her to make that mistake on beam with the situation, of course, and of course there's like you have to, work through those things. There's always going to be that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But that was pretty wild. For her to only leave with vault gold as far as
Yeah.
events and stuff goes, I'm sure that leaves a lot. I feel like if she had gone and she had like won vault gold, beam gold, floor gold,
If she wiped, it would be different. Yeah.
she would. I think it might be a different story. I think she would be like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I've already achieved everything I need to achieve, and like I'm the best and whatever. But like,
Yeah.
she knows that she's the best,
Mm-hmm.
but she wants to achieve it and have the
Mm-hmm.
record to back it up. And if she achieved that, as we were discussing, like gold on all
Yeah.
those things except for bars at an
Yeah.
Olympics, of course she's the greatest of all time, but that would be insane. And to do
Insane.
it at
At
LA
home.
Games.
Yeah. That would be insane.
Now the question, of course, is, the physical aspect and all these things and blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever. But if Simone does come
Yeah.
back as well, like we've discussed it before, she will come back in the all around. I would be very shocked if she came back
100%.
as a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
She is competitive.
Yeah.
And
she's also like, I feel like she's kind of an all or nothing girl.
no, that's exactly it. That
She's
is
an
the
all or
competitive
nothing
side
girl.
is that she
Yeah, she's not gonna go and just do floor. Like, this is not what it is.
Mm-mm. No, if you want somebody competitive in your life, call up Simone Biles. She
Literally.
Yeah. So, all that to be said, don't freak out about the US women.
Yeah. Don't.
But and also give some respect to basically the other programs around the world that are stepping up and really are rising to the occasion and getting better to compete with the Americans, because then American Simone and others have really raised the bar, especially on the women's side. And so with the difficulty, specifically, and consistency. And so they're decreasing that gap is decreasing. So it's a variety of things, but don't freak out, basically.
Yeah.
I think it's unwarranted. But
yeah, and also if Simone Biles can stand there and go, Rebecca Andrade is giving me a run for my money and I love it. Like, but woo, she's getting close. You can recognize that other programs are just leveling up to the US.
And that's great for the sport in general.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day,
it's not like the US sucks. Like, it's like, no, the sport's hard and it's getting harder.
No, the US doesn't suck. The US did have a bad
Everybody
world.
else is getting
100%
better.
say that, but everybody else is stepping up their game. And that's the difference. It's not the US is coming down. I think it's everybody else is stepping up. So, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to men's all around. Kind of surprising, but not really. Daiki Hashimoto of Japan won his third straight world all around title, besting Zhang Boheng of China and his teammate Shinosuke Oka. Zhang won silver, perpetual Mr. Silver, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. JK, to be fair, that's actually to be fair, this is gonna make you laugh even worse. That's actually Leanne. Zhang has actually won a world title.
Oh.
But I mean that very respectfully. It's just the fact of the
You
matter.
wanna know what, Leanne? In real life, I might be always the bridesmaid, never the bride, and that's okay. Like, sometimes we're just the fun, cool aunts.
That means that you're the fun one. Let's be for real. Leanne is absolutely the fun one. We have no doubt about that.
I know.
But yeah, Zhang finished with silver. Of course, he won in 2021, but since then, Daiki has won that battle. And then Oka, he finished fifth. He was apparently sick, lethargic.
I said, "Oh, love that."
Yeah, he was very much not in a good place, and he basically said before Worlds that he didn't want to be a one-hit wonder because Daiki did not have a good Olympics. So, like, the question is, like, if Daiki did have a good Olympics, would he have won? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that being said, he still obviously won high bar and all around in Paris. And he wants to prove that he is not a one-hit wonder, basically. So, but yeah, apparently, so, and we, on our site, we actually have all of the results. We of course have all of our live updates, recaps.
Yeah.
We have our result, all of these things, so you can kind of go and relive the meets. But on our results story, we have some stats, some historical stats.
Yeah.
And since his international debut. Since his international debut, Zhang has not finished lower than second all around in major meets, Olympics or Worlds, that he has competed in. So 2021, first at Worlds, 2022, second at Worlds, 2023 did not compete at Worlds because Asian Games were held at the same time, and China prioritized that meet. 2024, second at the Olympics, 2025, second at Worlds. So.
Interesting.
But yeah, so fun fact. But that was a good meet. Daiki won by almost a point. But the real, honestly, like we discussed this before, right? Like it was going to be Daiki, Zhang, and Oka, and those are the big three right now. Really, I mean, look, Oka's the reigning Olympic champion. I give him respect where respect is due, but actually it's more like the big two, which is Daiki and Zhang. They have dominated for years. So that's just, I think Oka does need to have another good meet to really cement himself as like, it's really the big three. But
100%.
we'll give we'll lump him in there because he is, as far as like recent Olympic and world champions, he is a part of that three. It's the three of them. So
yeah, for sure.
But rounding out the medalists was No Seaford of Switzerland, who won the country's first all-around medal.
That was crazy.
Since 1950, yeah.
That was so cool. That was so cool. I love a little history-making moment.
He qualified second. So that was great. And so he qualified second, and I'm pretty sure qualified second. Wait, I have the qualifiers as well on this results thing. He did qualify second. And then delivered, and he posted something, I think, about basically like falling maybe at like 2022 Worlds, 2023 Worlds, and then now he's a world all-around medalist, which is crazy. And he beat China's Shi Kong and Oka. So, wow. And then also finishing in the top 10, number 6 was Angel Barajas of Colombia, who is a sneaky good all-arounder. I feel like we discussed that.
Yes, we did. We did. And that makes my stepmom a very happy camper.
Oh, yes, because Clarissa's stepmom is from Colombia.
Yes. Colombia.
But, so yeah, so we'll move on to the one with the real drama because men's all-around competition was great, but it was not particularly dramatic. It was what we expected. Yeah. On the women's side, the top two were the same as 2021, with Angelina Melnikova, AIN from Russia, winning gold, and Lian Wang with the silver. Zhang Qingying of China won the bronze, China's first women's world all-around medal since Tang Xizhong in 2019.
It's crazy. That is crazy to me.
What, the Chinese medal?
Yeah, just like how long it's taken them to get another one.
Yeah, it's always been involved. It's always been there.
Oh, it's always been there for them.
Achilles heel. Now she did a beautiful. I want to say she did a souk full, but it was just, it's not very difficult. But she did a very clean one, and that's really what you have to do in those situations.
If you don't have the difficulty. Agreed.
And of course, Kaylee Namor was about 2 steps from winning the whole thing, but fell on her wolf turn for the second. Wait, no. Oh, yeah. No, she did fall during qualifying. That was the crazy thing. So she fell on her wolf turn in qualifying, still made the beam final because she's that good on beam.
That good.
And then And of course, probably got some gifts from other people, but that's besides the point. And then fell in the final on beam in the all-around final, and that's what kept her off the podium. That's what kept her from winning the world all-around title because she was 4th with a 54.564. Melnikova won with a 55.0666. 066. So she theoretically would have had a 55.564 and easily would have won the world all-around title because she hit her double twisting Yurchenko. Might not have been pretty, but she hit it. And yeah, so
that actually makes me want to cry. So
I do think her time is coming.
I agree. I was just about to say, but I do feel like in a spiritual sense, there's a plan here maybe, and it's not for her to peak at this very moment.
Yeah. I mean, like, when we're
she's just such a like, she truly is the first gymnast artistically I've enjoyed watching, like, in so long. I mean, it's gorgeous, like, to watch. And it's like old school artistic almost, like, just to a T, perfect lines, perfect points, perfect, like, it's just so pretty.
It's probably her getting raised up and trained in France and then them flopping
100%.
her. So.
Well, you know what? She might have gotten 4th, but they still messed that up for themselves.
They still flopped.
They flopped so hard on that. Insane.
But that being said, so Zhang, of course, edged Namor for bronze. And then the drama with Leanne and Angelina. Leanne had the meet of her life, ending on vault because she did not qualify well. She fell on her double twisting Yurchenko in qualifying and ended up qualifying, I want to say, like, wait, we have it here. She qualified 9th because of that fall on her DTY. So she was not in the leaders group, and she finished on vault while the rest of them finished on floor, and she did the chung, and she got it counted. And we did, by the way, the whole one-handed chung has been put to rest, it seems. Not because of Leanne. Leanne could absolutely still one-handed chung. So Karina, and honestly, we would talk about this in a bit, but Karina Schoenmeier of Germany did her chung during the vault final, and it was honestly amazing, but it was a one-handed chung. She did not have a second-hand touch. And it seems as though the stipulation on that 2-point deduction is really if the hand touches. If it does not touch at all, they're going to take it. But otherwise, I mean, it's really hard for them to probably take it if it touches. So all that to be said, Leanne did her chung here, going, again, balls to the wall. She knew what she needed to do. And she did her chung, and she hit it well, and she did put both her hands touched. She got credit for it. And Melnikova fell on beam on her two-footed layout that she struggled with all week. All week she struggled with that thing. She fell on podium a million times as well. And then we get to floor, and I hate to recap it, but if somebody was living under a rock and they didn't know, we get to floor, and she is the last one up. Leanne has done her chung. She is sitting at a 54.966, and Melnikova needed something around, like, let's say a 13.4. I forgot specifically. She did like a 13.1 in qualifying. Let me go actually check that. But in qualifying, no, she didn't even make the floor final because it was that bad. But she did like a 13.1 in qualifying, I want to say. We're talking about she would need a 3/10 increase over her qualifying. And her qualifying wasn't terrible, but like a 3/10 increase would be wild. So she goes and she does her opening pass, hops back, and looks like she is 2 feet out of bounds. My account, 2 feet out of bounds. Many people's accounts, 2 feet out of bounds. And then after that, she seems to rush out of her wolf turn, has some couple messy landings, short on her turns. And it's by the time her routine was over and the score didn't pop up, everybody's like, okay, Leanne won. Like, everybody's getting ready to say Leanne Wong has finally CEO'd her way to a
the
world
top.
all-around title.
Yeah.
And then the score flashes up, and somehow, some way, those judges gave Leanne or Angelina Melnikova the gold by a 10th. And she was not the best gymnast that day. And I think that's the thing that probably sits the worst with me, is that out of all the top contenders, Leanne had a lights out day, had a great day. She really put it all on the floor. And the 2 feet, of course, the 2 feet out of bounds is 3/10. 1 foot out of bounds is 1/10. I've seen the replays. Maybe we'll flash it up here, a picture. If you're watching. It is questionable, and I can see where the judges could have gone either way. I think based off the view, and like, we also have our photographer also sent me a photo of it from their angle. It looks like she was 2 feet out of bounds. I would say, like, if we're talking about football terminology and all of that, like indisputable evidence, if they called it 2 feet out of bounds, I would say you would not have enough evidence to overturn that back the other way. But if you call it 1 foot out of bounds, I don't think you have enough evidence to turn it over back the other way. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but it still looks 2 feet out of bounds to me. It looks so close that in my opinion, should have not. It should not. You should err on the side of she is out of bounds.
Yeah.
Not she is in bounds. And everybody's like, oh, well, she didn't put her heel down. And I'm just like, no, you can, in my opinion, you can fully see her sit her heel down.
Also, if the girl's out of bounds, she's out of bounds. Like,
so all that to be said,
if like the edge of her heel was on like the inside of the tape, but what I'm getting here is that was not the case.
No, I mean, like, there are situations where you're just like, oh, okay, that was finessed, but that's in bounds. This was, if basically it seems like everybody's argument is obviously one of her heels is out of bounds. Nobody disputes that. Then everybody else's argument, and I think it's her right heel, is that, oh, the ones who are saying that she wasn't 2 feet out of bounds, that the second foot didn't go out of bounds, is that she still lifted. And I'm just like, that, no, we're talking about centimeters, and it literally looks like she's out of bounds. Like, but all that to be said, of course, that would be the 3/10 it needs for her to be silver and Leanne to win. But, and Ian and I were talking about this later on, the more egregious, honestly, mistake by the judges here. Okay, so to back it up, Melnikova also got the highest E-score of that final on floor. And that's wrong.
I was about to say the silence is deficient for a reason.
That's
it's not correct. No.
That's concerning. Like, that's crazy. Because of the things that we discussed previously, the turns and landings and stuff, and I think we definitely saw cleaner routines. But I think the most egregious thing retrospectively is that they gave her her double Y turn to double turn, I think it was. They gave her the they credited it and gave her the D difficulty score for it. And she had an increase in D score, which also made the difference in her winning. And I will give you the tweet to pop up here, but she did not make those rotations at all. And it was plain as day to the eye. The judges have to go off of, to be very clear, the judges have to go off of what they see in real time.
Yeah.
But
how do you just make that up?
And she started, let's say she started here on her double turn and she finished here. She did not finish back here. It was not even close. So for them to give her credit for that is
diabolical.
Diabolical is a great thing. So yeah, it's just one of those finals that really kind of sits, has a sour taste in your mouth. It was not, look, I have nothing against Angelina as a gymnast. putting all politics aside and stuff, objectively talking about gymnastics and stuff, I think that she honestly so impressive that she came back after such a long
100%.
hiatus and had such a great world and continues. She's got like all these baby Russian AINs running around and she's still
kicking
and crushing it. But on the day, my personal opinion is the right gymnast did not win that meet.
No.
And my debate for that afterwards is that we need to make the sport more fun, more dramatic, and we need to get some like flags or something in here. The fact that Angelina of all people,
why don't we have out of bound flags?
Like it should be a matter of it's like you can't throw a flag on execution or whatever, but the fact that the only person that could inquire about her difficulty score specifically, and of course the neutral deduction for the out of bounds is Angelina, is egregious. There should be, and this happened before, this is something that should have, this has kind of come up frequently in the past few years, but I think it's also come up in NCAA is specifically where I've seen it. But okay, I will go back and I'll explain it. So the U.S. men, or not the U.S. men, for NCAA men, there was a men's meet last year where I think it was, I want to say Nebraska and Michigan.
Yeah.
Scoring was out of control. And then one athlete in particular received, I think, a point of difficulty that he did not do.
Yeah.
And the only person that could inquire about it and bring it up would have been them, the team that he's on, his coaches, him and his coaches. And there was basically a debate among the men's athletes and coaches that like it's not basically that team, those athletes were like, or I think that coach specifically was like, it's not my job to basically do the judge's job. And I'm like, and like that's basically the mindset that these people are going to take. Like people are going to take because you want to win.
It favors you.
Yes, there's the ethical implication of it, and I don't. You should want to ethically win.
Oh, I thought you were telling me. I thought you were telling me I should take that out because I made a face.
No. There's the ethical implication, but that being said, like, of course, at the end of the day, even if you should basically be like, hey, like, if it's like a tenth, it's one thing, but like a point, you should be like moseying up to the judges table and be like, because like also like if those same judges are going to come judge you at nationals and screw this up and screw you out of a title, you should want them to be doing their job properly. You should be calling 100%. Them out on it. You should be moseying up to the table and being like, hey, this is so wrong. It's not even funny. Like, are we okay?
Yeah.
But that being said, they're not going to do that because they want to win. They don't have an incentive to do that. So that was another situation where I was just like, there needs to be like flags or something. We need to make the sport more entertaining. I don't know if it's literally just a matter of like every gymnast basically gets one inquiry where they could basically go and inquire about like where like Leanne specifically could have gone and been like, flag on the play. I want to challenge this. I want to challenge whether it's, and it can't be execution, only like D-score or neutral deduction, and basically be like, and she can pick her poison, but she could have picked the out of bounds or she could have picked the turns, and basically have them then have to review it and look at the replay and decide what the deal is. But it's just like, this is the kind of thing I told Johnny as well. I feel like if I was just getting into gymnastics and I tuned into that final and I was just like, what the hell? Like that.
Yeah.
Like,
doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. Like, then I'm just like, I feel like people kind of honestly get aggravated and just like tune out and be like, I'm not going to watch the sport. It's kind of a joke. Like,
100%.
Even if we're just not again, like the out of bounds is not specifically the point, like the turns and like these things, it's just like, the whole picture of it. So my opinion is that we should have flags. The whole inquiry thing is ancient and ridiculous. And at the end of the day, the judges need to be held accountable.
I don't know why you would expect an athlete to call out a wrong that they made.
They're not going to. Exactly. So, and then the judges are not going to call themselves out. So, like, really, nobody's being held accountable. And the funniest thing is that if an athlete, nobody else can inquire, but if Angelina went and inquired about her routine in general for like an extra tenth because she was crazy, and then they were like, they can go back and while they're looking for that extra tenth, if they see that they credited that turn and it shouldn't have been credited, they can take that. And they've done that before. And it's the people have missed out on medals. So all around, like,
it's just a bad system.
It's just kind of inconsistent enforcement.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just not good. And also, like, yeah, it's just not good. I just don't know. So
no. And it like almost deters people from wanting to reach out because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So like you already have you would have an athlete call out a wrong that they did. And now potentially you guys are going to be annoyed that she's inquiring. So you're going to pick other things that you didn't pick up on before because, well, we might as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's all kind of cray-cray. And in this situation, I do feel bad for Leanne because, again, 4 years later, second to the same gymnast. And in this case, 4 years ago, as far as I can remember, Kita Kyosho, Angelina won. I mean, of course, it was only by, like, I think 3/10 then, but she won fair and square. I don't debate that. This time, my opinion is that the wrong athlete won. And it does sting for Leanne because at this point, she is between alternates and silver on, and all around and all these things. She is always, always, always the bridesmaid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in this case, she did everything she could to not be.
Yep.
And it should have been a different result. So.
Yeah.
True. The interesting thing about, because I think it's relevant here before we move on to event finals, the interesting thing about Melnikova and the AINs from Russia, which are obviously the Belarusian athletes aren't particularly competitive, so the AINs for Russia are most relevant, but it is the Belarusian and Russian athletes. Interesting thing is, coming in November, while the FIG has allowed for them to come back as authorized neutral athletes, European Gymnastics is still restricting them from competing at continental championships. And the 2020 or the post-Olympic Worlds is an open worlds format. So basically anybody from a recognized federation can compete.
Yeah.
That's why it's so massive, et cetera, et cetera. That's why we get great situations where like Cameroon gets to compete for the first time and things like that.
Yeah.
But next year you have to basically qualify. They would need to qualify through competing at Europeans.
Yeah.
And right now they cannot compete at Europeans because they are still banned. So in November, the European Gymnastics Federation Committee, whatever, will convene and basically decide whether they will allow the AINs, basically will allow them to compete at Europeans or not. They can fully basically say that they're not going to, and I don't think that they will be competing at Worlds unless the FIG steps in. But then they can, of course, say that they can. So they would not be as a team. Again, it's authorized neutral athletes. They cannot, basically, until this whole war thing is put to rest, they are going to be competing as individuals, I believe. So, but yeah, so we'll see basically depending on how that plays out, will basically determine if they are going to be competing in Rotterdam next year or if they will be sitting at home again because of that.
Yeah.
So. Okay, moving on
Can't
to
wait for that
events.
update.
Yeah, so that'll be at the end of November. We will definitely have an update for that when that comes through. I want to say that they're literally talking on like American Thanksgiving, but of course it's Europe, so it's
They don't really care, yeah.
business as usual for them. Okay, so going to event finals, I think we'll just go by men's and then women's.
Yeah.
Floor final was great for the men. Jake Jarman won with 14.866, beating out his compatriot Luke Whitehouse, who is the 3-time reigning European champion. He won silver, and then Carlos Yulo won bronze. Floor final was great. I have nothing to say except for like those men can. The tumbling that they're doing is insane.
That's what I said. I said, those men can fly.
Those men can fly. I think the funniest thing about them is that specifically when I'm watching like Jake, because of his difficulty and stuff, is like, I'll be like, laid out double. And then I'm just like, yep, I know that's wrong. Even though like sometimes like my eyes deceive me and I'm just like, just add a full twist there. That is not correct. And I'm just like, laid out triple double. No, that's correct.
Literally. Yeah.
So that's the crazy thing. So yeah, the Brits really had a great Worlds on floor.
They did.
In general. So, and then of course Carlos is the reigning Olympic champion on floor and vault. He won bronze here, lost out of the gold by about 0.3, but that was kind of the other thing with the men's all around, kind of like backtracking for 2 seconds, is that Carlos had a wrist injury. Otherwise, like I fully believe that he would have been in the mix for an all around medal.
Yeah.
And then of course Asher getting injured, he was definitely an all around contender.
Yeah.
So
100%.
a lot of what ifs there. So I think that next year could be very entertaining on the men's all around side, because there was not post Olympics. There was not a lot of athletes taking hiatuses on the men's side. We're actually seeing quite a bit of. Now, of course, are they like at their peak Olympic form? No, but like we are seeing a lot of the top athletes competing. So be very interesting next year. Pommel horse.
I feel like men get bored easily and don't like to take a break.
Yeah,
in any sport. That's why
I think
they train all season long.
I think in men's it's actually I think with gymnastics specifically, or at least in America, like the guys continue on, because honestly, even like obviously Steven got, his Dancing with the Stars and his fame and stuff, whatever. But even he's back in the gym having surgery, etc. Because I mean, financially, like the women are more like gonna make more money post Olympics, hiatus and stuff. Like Simone, Suni, they can go and do speaking engagements and all these things and like make so much money. I do, of course,
more
think
lucrative
that,
of a business.
Yeah, they could take the time off and make a ton of money and come back when they're ready. I do think also the guys get bored and they're just like, I want to go back to the gym.
I think men can't be alone with their thoughts. And so they have to have a hobby at all times.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
On pommel horse, it was so funny. I think Patrick actually was kind of roasted by this one, and I'm sorry, Patrick Hoops, for this. But Hong Yangming of China and Mamakon Khachatryan of Armenia went 1-2, and they're the young guys, both teenagers. And so I said it was like the next generation. When I posted our graphic, said it was the next generation.
I did see that, yes.
Leading the way, and then and Patty and Patty commented and was just like, I forget exactly what he said, but he was like, that's vile or something. I was just like, sorry. To be fair, he is like 4 or 5 years older than these kids. So
he's an oldie. Sorry,
he's actually not that old, but like he comparatively to the teenagers, like they're teenagers. So but they actually tied Yanming and Mamikon tied with 14 sixes, but Yanming won the execution tiebreak. So, but that pommel horse final was actually pretty good. Rings, of course, Donnell won, which you kind of touched on with your stick.
Insane routine. Insane.
And you dismounted with his triple pike, which is the Wittenberg, his eponymous skill. Won with a 14-7. Adim Asil, the 2022 World Rings champion, got silver. And then Lan Jingyu of China was 2021 world champion, and he got bronze. They were separated by 2/10. The rings final is always very close. So, the question here is basically, where does Donnell go from here? Can he come back next year and defend his title? Can he repeat, or is it a one-off? Because he was really, don't get me wrong, Donnell brings a lot to the table as far as difficulty goes. In general, when he's on the rings, but this code with the dismount, as it was credited previously, and we discussed the dismount change in our last episode.
The change is going to hurt him.
Because that triple pike was so highly valued, so difficult, almost a point in difficulty. That was really bolstering him. And now there is not really an incentive for him to do that triple pike.
No.
And so the question is then, can he make up for it on his skills when he's actually on the apparatus?
Yeah.
So
for sure. I feel like he likes a challenge. I'm gonna hope he does come back, because I could watch him on rings all day.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Of course, the 2021 world champion for the U.S. men on at the 2021 Worlds was Steven on pommels, and he did great. And then he went on, and he's, of course, through the quad had some success, had ups, had downs, but ultimately won his bronze at the Olympics. So maybe that's a good sign of the future. But Donnell literally this time last year was recovering from a busted Achilles. So
which is crazy.
Congrats.
Yeah,
great
you
for you.
Gotta love a triple pike.
Also,
right after an Achilles injury.
Turkey's Adim, he is the most precious thing. He was so pumped about his silver medal. Lan looked pissed, but that's usually how the Chinese guys are if they don't win. They're like, this is not what I came to do.
Yep.
But Adim was like, heck yeah, dude, I'll take that. Woohoo!
I did it.
He looked pure joy, which I love. And the photos that we have of him afterwards, just celebrating and stuff, beautiful. The men's vault final, best final at this Worlds.
Preach, girl.
Best men's vault final I've ever seen. Not a flop fest.
Not a flat fest.
God-given miracle.
That's big.
That's amazing. And
that's fab.
We saw some of the best pieces of gymnastics, some of the best vault ever done within the same vault final. Not just one, but multiple. It was amazing. Carlos Yulo, his pike dragulescu, which is front handspring, double pike, half, stuck.
Insane.
People are talking about it, being like, was that the best vault ever done on the men's side? I think it could be argued that it was, as far as difficulty and execution, the mix of it goes. Of course, I think Michaela's 2.5 is still stands on the women's side as the best vault on that side.
Yep.
Rip. And then, of course, Rebecca's Chung is right there from Pan Am's. But on the men's side, like Carlos did say that was the best vault he's ever done.
Yeah.
And then it was like, do you think that's the best vault ever? And he was just like, I don't know about that. But
he's like, well, who am I to judge?
Who am I to say that was the best vault ever?
Who am I to judge?
It was amazing. His second vault was also crazy. Arto Davtyan of Armenia still almost beat him because he stuck both of his. Because he's
like king.
Stick king. And wow, those were beautiful. He got one silver by he was 0.033 behind Carlos, even though Carlos had that insane first vault.
Yeah.
Because Artur stuck those 2 vaults. And they were just incredible. And honestly, that was such a redeeming moment for him because back in 2023, he actually fell during the vault final.
Yeah.
And he was a 2022 world champion, really was making a name for himself on vault, and then he fell in the vault final. And it was just very devastating because it was just very unlike him. And so he came back and it was amazing. 10 out of 10. And then rounding out the medalist was Nazar Chaperny of Ukraine. And I forget if he stuck, I don't think he stuck both of them, but he basically stood up both of his vaults and had I would say the best landings probably. Like as far as like chest up, not sticking, Archer did that. But Carlos had the best difficulty. As far as like that pike drag Ulescu goes. Artur had the sticks, and then Nazar had the like standing these vaults up. Like showing just a pure, he has mastered these vaults. Because these other guys are like chest down, falling on their faces, and he is standing them up.
Yeah, like he's like, I've been here. Like I am him.
And then in fourth was
I am good.
In fourth was Tommaso Brugnami of Italy. And he started the final off and he stuck one, and they were very beautiful as well. And so he was right on the outside looking in. But all around, I think the only fall, maybe, I don't think Marinov fell, but I think Kazuki Minami of Japan was the only one to fall in that final. Or one of his, and then I think he stuck the second one, which is always how it goes. Minami also fell in the men's floor final. So all around rough meet for him, and he has such good difficulty, and it sucks.
Ugh, I hate that.
Next time, dude. Next time. Parallel bars. Joe won. What's what she said?
Is anybody surprised?
No. So that's his 4th world title. He's, of course, a 2-time reigning Olympic champion. Basically, everybody's just fighting for silver and bronze until he decides to retire. Or, of course, on the off chance he makes a mistake. I think my stat for him was Zhou Jingwan has won every major parallel bars title at Olympics and Worlds he has competed at, is the stipulation, since 2017, with the exception of 2019 when he failed to qualify to the final. He made a mistake. In 2023, Zhou also was competing at Asian Games that I mentioned earlier, so he did not compete in 2023, or else probably would have won. So, he's insane. I think the best comparison that I got from him actually was from another great parallel bars worker, which is Curran Phillips, who was in contention for the men's Olympic team for the U.S. last year. He was basically like, he's almost like a marionette, where like, when they have like the string in the marionette head and it's like pulling them up, and it looks like they're just like floating around and they're not actually like, that's what Jove looks like. And that is a pure mastery of the apparatus. And that is not what basically anybody else looks like.
No.
So that is why he's so dominant at it. Of course, he has great difficulty, but his execution is what puts him over the top.
Definitely.
So, Tomoharu Sunogai of Japan was second, and he's 19. He was also did well. He was 4th on high bar. I think he qualified number 1 on high bar. But that's one to watch. The only reason he's actually one of Japan's top all-arounders. The only reason he couldn't do all-around here, of course, is because Daiki and Shinosuke had the all-around spots locked up in the format and stuff. So I could see him absolutely potentially doing all-around next year when the teams are bigger and when they have the team competition. And maybe pushing Daiki and Oka, Daiki and Shinosuke, for that 2 per country. So
I can see that too.
But
keep an eye on it.
Keep an eye out. That's one to watch. The men's high bar final was also very good. Of course, Brody Malone won his second world all-around world high bar title. 2022 won the title. 2023 blew out his leg. Questionable if he would ever return to competition. 2024 made it back to the Olympics to compete in the all-around. Didn't have the best Olympics, but still helped the team win team bronze.
Yep.
And considered retiring, and then came back this year and beat Daiki Hashimoto, the Tokyo Olympic champion.
Yep. Which is crazy with the mock meet he had.
Yes, looking back at that mock meet, we were just like, oh, we were
I was
concerned.
like, I don't know.
We were like, only take it with a grain of salt. But we were concerned.
But it was tough. Yeah, it was tough.
But he didn't need the triple pike. He did need to get his Winkler counted, which was not counted in qualifying. And so he barely, I wouldn't say he stuck into the final. He still qualified 6th. But I mean, if he had gotten the Winkler counted, hold on, that would have been, let's see, 14,766. So he would have been one of the, like, maybe the second qualifier, I think, behind Tomoharu. So, but he started this final, and it was just, I mean, from the beginning, it was beautiful. His handstands ended on top of the bar, and his talk skills, he floated his releases. It was going to take a lot to beat that. And nobody could put it together. Daiki it was just little things. It really came down to little things. He only missed out on gold by 0.2, but in that, I fully believe that the way the rankings shaped up was how it's supposed to. How it's supposed to be. And Joe Frazier won bronze, which is great.
I know.
He's very happy with that, and he should be. It's great.
Great Britain had a good Worlds.
They did. They had a great Worlds.
They had a great Worlds on the men's side.
Go back to the medal table. They were 4th on the medal table. Medal table, China won with 7 total, 3 gold. Japan was 2nd with 5 total, 2 gold. USA was 3rd with 5 total, 2 gold, but lost the tiebreak to Japan with only 1 silver versus Japan's 2 silver. And then Great Britain was 4th with 5 total medals. Of course, only one gold to Jake, but they had 2 silver, 2 bronze. So
they did great.
Yeah, it was a great meet for Great Britain. I think it was a lot to build off of, and they really are looking strong. Which takes us into the women's event finals. Of course, on vault, Angelina Melnikova's knees held on, and her chung is not pretty, but it was there. It was there, and so she won.
Yep.
Congrats. Split, like, all I can imagine is the photo of her legs that are just like,
no, I can't.
Don't get me wrong. I think every chung, not that we saw a lot of them, but we did see at this meet, were not pretty.
Maybe
except for Karina's. Karina's was pretty good, just one-handed.
Yeah, maybe we should get those really in the gym before we start throwing them out here, because some of them are less than appealing, shall we say?
I remember when back in the day people called Maria Paseca's, I want to say she maybe, I don't know I forget what vaults she did, but back in the day, they said Maria Paseca's legs very worse than Melnikova's, I will say. They called it a beehive. It was just like, Melnikova's was not that bad. It was really bad with Paseca. She had no business vaulting like that. But
I know exactly what you're talking.
But second was Leah Monica Fontaine of Canada, one of their rising stars. She did great, and then Jocelyn Robertson came back from some troubles early on in Worlds too. We did her story on it, but she actually, part of what the key to her winning this bronze medal on vault was doing a vault that she had not even trained since March.
Yep.
She went through She did the Lopez, she did the Chung, and then she settled with what is unofficially called a Mustafina. And that is a blind landing versus
Yeah.
not blind landing, and kind of the middle ground between the Lopez and the Chung, and it was the sweet spot. It was almost like Goldilocks, like,
Yeah.
this one's too sweet, this one's too sour, but this one's just right,
Yeah.
and
Perfect.
that was
But I know
today.
what? She deserved that, and y'all need to get off her back. Let that girl have a
So
deep
real.
breath. Like, she is a young girl, and you guys are ruthless. Give her a break.
I do, yeah. I 100%
Like, I
agree.
can't.
I think she does need to,
She has stuff she can improve for sure, but,
No.
like, I feel like she has a giant, like,
There's a
people
lot of
cannot
pressure on her.
stop talking.
And
Like,
she literally said that she had PTSD basically from 2023 when she got hurt at Worlds and she qualified the vault final and everything, and poor girl. She is young, she
Yeah.
has so much talent. If you
She has so
wanna
much talent, so much potential, but if y'all keep pushing her and saying mean, unnecessary things, we're either gonna have another Simone situation, which is a completely and totally preventable, or she's just gonna retire early. And that's no fun for anybody involved.
She did say, I will say, I think that she also, it's a mix, right? Like, of course, there's like probably some pressure. She did say that she had PTSD basically from 2023 Worlds and was working through that, and it surprised her coming to Jakarta how it hit her. But that being said, she did basically recognize in conversations with media afterwards that she is probably going to change some things next year in her return to elite. She was really peaking more in like July, August. Versus peaking now. And so she'll slow it up, I think. In the lead up to Worlds next year, which is smart. I also think that she needs to take a rest. She said that she was going to have a week off at least. When she returned, her poor ankles are clearly roughed up. She
Could you
needs to take some
imagine if
time.
they were doing the SI swim games this Friday?
SI swim games. The SI women's games?
Sorry.
Yes, they're not gonna be doing it in bikinis.
I'm tired. I'm so tired, guys. You have to give me, like, a break. But give Jocelyn a break. Give me a break. Give everybody
I totally forgot about that thing. Guys, that would have been insane.
That would have been insane. We would have had so many pullouts last minute and or injuries.
No, it wouldn't have been good.
It wouldn't have been smart on the athlete's behalf to do that.
No.
And I don't think a lot of coaches would have been with it.
I just hope that Jocelyn goes home, takes this bronze. She seems so happy with it, and really takes a longer break and kind of gets her body right. I know NCAA season is coming up, but I don't think. Look, my opinion on NCAA season. Of course, Arkansas is in one of those positions they were in it last year, where they, of course, now all of the SEC teams are going to be competing at SECs, so that's kind of out the window.
Yeah.
Jocelyn could theoretically not compete like the first month of season and be fine. She could
100%.
easily, like, Arkansas will still get to compete at SECs, and Jocelyn can easily come back and still qualify to nationals, even as an individual and stuff. I want to see her take some rest. And I don't know if necessarily jumping right into season and stuff is necessary and best for her long-term health.
And for if she wants to stay in elite.
What'd you say?
I said, sorry. I'm so stressed about this situation. And for if she wants to stay in elite long term.
Well, exactly. So, like, at some point, look, Leanne is a different breed. Leanne.
I agree, but I think even with her, we saw the effects of going.
Yes, I do.
She had an off year last year. Like,
she did.
Point blank period. She had an off year. And arguably, should she have maybe taken a rest year? Maybe. Like, I think that you either take the rest or your body's going to force you to rest. And I think the only person who has evaded bodily injury in that sense is Leanne. But everybody else, their bodies have crapped out at some point, and just the way that Jocelyn is built, I feel like she is more prone to
Yep.
an injury.
I hope she takes a rest. My other thing with Jocelyn is I hope that this meet showed her that maybe you should compete at Mustafina and prioritize blind landing vaults because they're better for your just how you block and compete and stuff
Yeah.
and etc. Because maybe a chung just isn't maybe
Yeah.
you are getting so much deductions on the chung that it would you still kind of get out ahead with
Yeah.
the Mustafina vault with the blind landing vault. Maybe look at if you really want to upgrade somewhere, look at an Amadar like that has a blind landing. I don't
I feel
know.
like she hasn't found her. I feel like she hasn't found herself truly as a gymnast yet. Like her her skills, her comfortability, I feel like she still is kind of in that people tell her try this, try that, or she feels like
She's
she might
chasing
need to
skills
do
that
certain
other
things.
people do, it seems.
Yeah, and I think she needs to embrace I think she needs to say, "Hey, this isn't working. This is what I want to do. Let's do it, make it great." Type vibe.
Yep.
I think maybe she's got to figure that out still.
But I hope that this was the first step to that.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think it's a great example. I think that her routines in some ways can be changed to really emphasize her style of
Skill set.
gymnastics, her skill set. I think on bars, it's a great example how she got really consistent with that this year, and she added the full twisting double lay dismount, which was great. She can definitely make some adjustments with leaps and stuff and artistry on floor. I think some changes still need to be made on beam, and she knows that because she was getting dinged for it on artistry.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great potential there.
That the funniest thing in the world would be if she took a couple months off and took ballet classes until the next Olympics and then came back and was the best artistic gymnast on the floor.
Yeah, then everybody could be quiet.
Could shut up. If I was her, I'm petty enough, I would do that. I'd be like, you guys are so annoying. I'm that's what Dua Lipa did. She couldn't dance and she became a meme. And then she worked her butt off and now she's one of the best performers out there.
I didn't know that about Dua Lipa. What
Oh my
a
God,
world.
she got trashed for how she danced. It was so bad. And then she took a ton of classes and now people praise her.
Interesting.
Yeah. You can always improve. Never say never.
The other points about the women's vault final, Karina Schoenmeier, of course, of Germany, she would have been a medalist.
Yeah.
Had she gotten her chung counted. It was actually a very good chung, incredibly impressive that she could execute that chung with one hand because she literally, she did not touch with the second hand. It wasn't a brush like Leanne, it was one-handed chung.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But
so what if we just create a one-handed chung?
I don't think the technical committee is going to approve that when people are flopping all over the place already.
I know, literally.
This is Schoenmeier. She actually already did it in competition.
Literally. I mean, at this point, everybody's having a problem with getting both hands on.
That's wild.
Solution.
But I think I saw somebody say it was basically if you were basically tumbling on floor. I don't know. I don't know how it happens, but there's a method to the madness but also not good with them basically doing these vaults like this. And then, of course, the bummer of the vault final was the very first vault finalist up who would have, again, probably been a medalist. She qualified second was Ding Yalin of China. She had a DNF because she balked, just literally jumped over the insert photo here, jumped over the vault table and did not vault. So it was very sad. And she actually went back and was fully ready to do a second vault, but because she did not do a first vault, she could not do a second vault. And so I think it was technically actually a DNS, but I put DNF because that's more reflective of the situation. She did not finish. She did actually go and vault. But she was devastated. And it was so sad because she's actually I want to say she's she's 26 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And she went through a phase where she retired. She was 26. She went through a phase she retired, came back. Theoretically, with the Chinese team and how they do things, this could have very well been her last
Yeah.
shot, basically.
Yeah.
And because of how things went, we might not see her on the world stage again.
Yeah. That's super sad.
So it's very, very devastating. Filippo, one of our photographers that was there, posted a great post about it, kind of lamenting about it. So if you want to go to our Instagram, you can see that. And also showed some of his great photos of the moment. And that is, of course, you're just like, great photos of the moment. It's not a great moment, but that is also
Yeah.
photojournalism and telling the story through photos.
Right.
It's very important.
Yeah.
So on even bars, Kalia destroyed everybody. Shocker. She won by over a point. She is insanely dominant.
Insane.
There's not much more to be said there. She did so well, and then the next day had her moment on beam 2 with silver. Angelina Melnikova was second with her flurry of in-bar skills, and Yang Fan Yue of China. She had a little break in her form that prevented her from winning silver. But yes, so Sky Blakely was fourth. So cool. Sky, getting fourth was best case scenario. Sky doesn't have the difficulty to. She does not have the difficulty to. She didn't really have the difficulty per se to blatantly compete for a medal. She was less than 2/10 off the podium. So if Sky upgrades, she can absolutely contend for medals. But she was not a medal favorite there. She qualified 7th, and she really did have a great routine that day. Also, Zoja Sekai of Hungary was 8th. Debate there is that she should not have been competing. She was in the all-around final the day prior and did not finish the all-around final because she hurt her knees, I believe, on vault. And then she still chose to come, and it's the athlete's choice, 100%. If that's the athlete's choice, then that's their choice. But she chose to come and compete, but she was again never going to really contend maybe for a medal. Or it did not seem like she was going to contend for a medal. So was it
necessary?
When she did a good routine and then she dismounted and basically collapsed to the ground. So just one of those things where you're just like, hopefully that was the athlete's choice. Hopefully her hand was not forced by coaches or whatever. But really hope that she rests up and heals. She's one of those gymnasts that it always seems like she just got bad luck. On beam, Zhang Qingying of China hit a 15.166. That is let me go back to my notes. That, did I not note this? Dang it. I believe she's China's first world beam champion since Lu Tingting in 2018. I loved Lu. Tingting was my favorite.
Yeah.
I got to see her win that title in 2018 in Doha. But Zhang put up the first 15 in a beam final, in a major beam final. I think when I say major, World or Olympics, since I want to say Simone 2019.
Dang, girl.
So that's impressive. And
that's impressive.
It was a long time coming. She has such great difficulty, and she just finally put it together. She finally hit it. One of those things where you're just like, okay, well, when you decide to do it, you're going to crush everybody. And she did. Kalia Namor was second, almost a point back from Zhang, with a 14.3. So shout out Kalia for not only being a bars maven, but she is obviously very talented in other areas. And one day we'll get that all-around medal, you would think.
100%. I think she will.
And then Aiko Sugihara of Japan began her great day on the final day of Worlds, winning bronze on beam. And then she would go on to put together a masterful floor set to win gold on floor.
Love.
And the Brits were 2-3 on floor. So Aiko won floor, and then Ruby Evans was second, and Abigail Martin was third. And again, the Brits are. You have to think if Jessica Gadarova was, doing floor this year and here, not injured again, she absolutely would have been a contender on floor. They just really, that country is amazing on floor. Go get it, guys.
Slay.
Amazing. Slay. And of course, Sabrina Maneka-Voyna was fourth again.
Yep.
Again. If you want to talk about always, always, always the bridesmaid, that.
Yeah.
At least Leanna's winning medals.
Yeah.
That's a really hard situation because I was really going to lament about that for a second, but with the recent developments,
yeah, maybe we don't.
Maybe we don't. Dulcie Kaler was actually the top qualifier for the U.S. across all events. So, of course, we talked about Sky. Sky got pushed out of the beam final. She did obviously finish fourth on bars. So, all around, if we're the U.S. men, I want to also go back for a second. The U.S. men had a great World, and that was expected. Yeah. We expected the U.S. men to have a great World. Basically anything, honestly. Like, I mean, of course, if it was only one world title, still would have been great, but they delivered, over-delivered.
No, 100%.
Really met expectations here. Asher was injured, of course, so there's always the what if of what could have happened there. But Donnell, gold on rings, made the parallel bars final, slay. Brody, gold on high bar. Patrick, bronze on pommel horse. Cameron made floor final. That was always going to be challenging. He finished. He finished fourth, so he was right off the podium. But he was 4/10 off the podium because the difficulty Jake, Luke, and Carlos have is just so, and also high. Their execution. The mix of that just really separates them from the rest of the field. But Cameron got his feet wet, so he could go back, take what he learned, and build.
100%.
But so that's Cameron, Patrick, Donnell, Brody, Asher. Who am I missing for the U.S.?
Brandon.
Oh, Brandon. Yes. He didn't make finals. Got his feet wet, didn't have the best routine on a pommel horse, and he did not make finals. So I still think the pommel horse strategy worked out to bring the two specialists. Is that going to happen again for Team Worlds and stuff? No. But that being said, great for them to both get the experience. Think it was worth it. The U.S. men had a great Worlds. For the U.S. women, Leanne, silver in the all-around. We obviously already had that debate. Not going to sit there and lament about that anymore. She fell on vault in qualifying, so obviously there's always the what if of her vault medal. I don't think it would have been gold. I think Angelina still would have won. But definitely think that she would have won a medal. Then, of course, Jocelyn did vault in Florida, didn't make floor finals, which is disappointing. She was still kind of struggling at that point in qualifying, and then she made vault finals and redeemed herself. Sky had honestly probably a best case scenario Worlds as far as like difficulty and stuff goes, and coming back from her Achilles, very great step into elite. And I know that she is now. We kind of discussed it in the Women's World Team Selection Camp recap, but she's getting back on vault and floor. So I fully expect to see all-arounder Sky next elite season.
Definitely.
As long as everything goes well. And then Dulcie was really actually the top qualifier for the U.S. women. She qualified, let's see. She qualified fifth in the all-around. She ended up not having a great meet in the final, ended up 13th. She qualified to the beam and floor finals. Also, not very great performances there. But I think there's a lot of potential there.
That's what I was gonna say. I think she just needs the experience.
I think a lot of people are some people are so funny. They're like screaming, let these people get experience, let these people get experience, let these athletes go to
Yeah.
Worlds and get experience. And that was actually kind of the argument some people were saying to not send Sky and Jocelyn,
Yeah.
but to send like Ashley and Jayla to go get Worlds experience.
Yeah.
Well, Dulce went and got Worlds experience. And
Yeah.
also, I'm just like the same people would probably be still complaining and lamenting if they came home with no world medals, but they did come home
Yeah.
with medals.
Yeah.
So all that to be said, Dulce did get experience. She girl bossed her way onto the team, and then she
She
girl
did.
bossed her way into 3 finals, and she did a
That's the
great
thing.
job.
It's like you can't have this argument if she doesn't deserve to be there. It was a fluke. If she literally got the scores, not only to get there, but then to head into qualifying with all of these other athletes. Like, it completely negates the argument. Like, she showed up and
She
she
did
did
great.
she did great. She just had off days the next two.
She did great. I would say overall, she just and probably that, experience aspect, maybe also an endurance aspect is this is a very long
It's
meet.
not just it's not just one and done.
It's a week, 10 days, 2 weeks of training, competing at a very high level and stuff. And her finals were on the last day of the meet. So there's that endurance aspect. And now she really has gotten a taste of what this meet is like, pacing wise, etc. So if she makes a world team again in the future, I would suspect that she is going to be better prepared, especially with her coach or her coaches who previously coached the Romanian team, having that experience as well together along with the high performance staff and stuff at USAG. They should be prepared to help her pace and help her perform better in the future, especially now that she's gotten this experience.
I agree.
So I think she should be nothing but proud of herself. So and that was it. That's the end. That's the end. Great.
That's Worlds.
Oh, by the way, shout out to Amanda Yap and Tikkamporn Surantornta.
That is such a we need to shout them out.
Gotta shout them out. Amanda Yap, Singapore. We did a Q&A with her. It's on our site. And then Tikkamporn of Thailand. First Singaporean gymnast to make a world final. She qualified to the beam final. Tikkamporn, first Thai gymnast to make a world final. He qualified to the floor final. Those were really the two, I guess, most historic moments of Worlds.
Yeah.
So,
and Amanda got 6th. Like, she finished dead last.
Her routine was fabulous. Just Zhang and Aiko and so on and so forth just had more difficulty and just all around
she
sharper.
Held on.
But
she held her own.
She can definitely contend. So I would be on that lookout for her. She could definitely be
100%
one to watch the next few years. And then of course her goal is LA qualifying. So we will see. Any other stats? Also shout out to Cameroon for competing at the first Worlds. People are bitter and rude about basically the level of gymnastics that Cameroon brought to Worlds, but they brought a level of gymnastics to Worlds that is very impressive for their training facilities. 100%. And it is a massive stepping stone for them to be able to compete at this World Championships and get that experience. And so I hope that they continue to get, hopefully, funding and better facilities and what they are training on is nothing compared to what most of these athletes are training on.
Like, before you're about to say something about these athletes, go look up where they train and the access to gyms and mats, coaching that they have, and you will be humbled very quickly.
So that is the beauty of a post-Olympic Worlds. Everybody can enter. There were 500 approximately athletes that competed at this meet. There were athletes of various levels, of course, but just for them to get that experience on the stage, just for people from their country to see them competing at that level is massive.
It expands the sport. Yeah.
It does expand the sport.
The sport in their countries.
And then the finalists, of course, from Thailand and Singapore, again, inspiring future generations to get into the sport and be like, I can do this. I want to be like them, and I want to be a world finalist, and I want to compete in Olympics. And it shows them that it's possible. They can take this step.
100%.
So, yeah, so that's Worlds. We'll just like turbo this. Gymnast for People 2, Jordan Weber's doing the splits 5 months postpartum in the London 2012 Leo. Insane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then Jordan and Ezra were absolutely robbed on this week's episode of Dancing with the Stars. My opinion.
Period. We love you guys.
And that's it. Bye.
Bye.
I've never done that in my life.